And we got the information why Utar requested this for Boz, because it has to do with the dissolving chord at the end, said Slagon. Is it true, Boz?
Yes, absolutely. I love the way that it goes digga 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 digga, and then becomes a chord at the end.
Okay.
My
so, by the way, greetings on air.
Hello.
From the other side.
Hello. It feels weird not being in control.
What? Why? Hi?
It feels weird not being in control of any of the buttons and knobs and stuff.
Well, so I thought. But once or twice you already had such experience by many people's shows, did you?
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
So it wasn't entirely true what I introduced you with on Facebook, but still it's very funny, I think.
It's very rare that I'm not in front of the controls nowadays.
Got it. And oh yeah, how does it feel right now?
A little bit weird. There's, I can't hear a bed in the background, for instance, and I'm thinking, where's the bed?
Yeah, exactly. But there is a bed. You don't be afraid of that.
Don't hear it. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm on IRC, so I'm saying I can see everyone talking on IRC as well. So hello on IRC.
Yeah, there are lots of people. Some struggled but managed to make it. So this is really nice.
Yes.
And I don't know with what to start because we have lots of questions already. And I'm glad to announce you that Bozbank also posted some questions for you already, which is usual. But he was creative, so not a usual type of questions. And I might start with the regular, boring, typical questions what I usually ask, but probably you never mentioned it to anyone on air. I don't know.
Okay.
For example, what was your first computer ever?
Ooh, my first computer ever was a Sinclair ZX81 that I got in 1981.
Oh.
It had 1 kilobyte of RAM, and you could buy a RAM expansion kit for it called to increase it to 16K. But the trouble is, it had the infamous name of Wobbly RAM Pack because it was so heavy that it wobbled in the user port of the ZX81, and if you knocked it by mistake, it used to reset the ZX81, and you lost all your programs.
Oh.
Yeah. But that was my first computer ever.
So not a C64?
No. ZX81, I had that for a year, and then I got a Sinclair ZX Spectrum, and I had that for 3 years.
That was my first. Oh.
Yeah. The spongy keys and everything.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
The rubber keys.
Yeah, and so, yeah, I had that for 3 years, played a lot of games, got into a little bit into Z80 assembling language. And then in 1985, that's when I got my Commodore 64.
And it was a life-changing moment for you. I mean,
It was.
Not only the moment, probably like a lot of times you spent with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember I went into 2 computer stores in the summertime of 85. And at one store, they loaded up Hypersport. So that was when I heard Martin Galway's Ocean Loader, followed by his version of Chariots of Fire.
Oh.
And then I went into another store and I heard Rob Hubbard's Monty on the Run. And after hearing those 2 things, I ran home and said, I said to my dad, "Dad, you've got to buy me a Commodore 64.
So it was because of the music?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And
you didn't mention this on the trial call of ours? This is so great.
No, it's extra, but it was the music more than anything else that really got me into it. And so I was very lucky. I had a pool table at the time. So my dad and I came up with a plan. Right, we sell the pool table, you can have your 64. So I sold the pool table. So
nice exchange.
Yes.
Anyways. Well, later on, you kind of got rid of this 64, but it came back to you.
It came back, yeah. It was in 91. Because that's when I got my Amiga, and I thought, I won't need the 64. So I sold it to my uncle, who had, actually my nephew, because it was my uncle's son, obviously. But after a year or so, I wish I'd have kept my 64.
Oh.
And Anne, my girlfriend at the time, heard me say this. And in 1993, Christmas 93, unbeknown to me, she had got in contact with my uncle and bought back my 64 and gave it to me as a Christmas present.
Oh, how nice of her, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after that, you had a short history with Amiga as well?
Yeah, I had an Amiga 500, and then I got an Amiga 1200, and I've still got my 1200 actually. I play it now and then, but it's my 64 that I play most, and with the Amiga I usually just emulate it.
Nice.
Yeah, the problem with the 1200 is there was a lot of games that were incompatible because they'd kind of hard-coded a few things to be timed with the chip in the 500, so they didn't work properly on the 1200.
Okay, good that you say that, because I have no clue about Amiga. I never had an Amiga, so hey, at least it's good to know.
Yes.
And you did some modules as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which we cannot show because you haven't sent me them.
No, because I can't. I'm looking now. I might be able to send something over soon, but yeah, I was trying to find an original mod, but I mean, I just used like Noise Tracker or whatever, and then I used Med as well, Octamed, which was a special program that allowed you to play 8 channels at a time.
Yeah. I knew it already. Yeah, I had some Octamed modules back in like 95. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I'll try and find an old mod. Maybe it might even be a remix of a 64 tune that I tried to do on the Amiga, and they sound a bit shit, to be honest.
But actually, the first remixes were born on Amiga for 64. I think so.
Yes, they were. Yeah, there was a lot of people kind of missing the sound of the 64, so they tried to emulate it on the Amiga by using I guess chip tunes. They got the Amiga to emulate sounds that sounded a little bit like the Commodore 64 SID chip. And then 2 guys came along, 2 Swedish guys, and I can't remember their names offhand, but they made a demo called the 100 Best Commodore 64 Tunes, and they were actually emulating a SID chip. And that was the first time the SID chip had been emulated.
Wow.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, and to very quickly answer a question that Spavac said. So the 64 we played during the gathering is the very same, very first Bosy 64. Yes, it is. My original 64.
Oh my God, this is Cooltic already.
Yeah.
So you dared to take your 64 there for making able everyone to play with it.
Yes.
This is so nice of you.
Well, I figured, I mean, everyone there knows how valuable, or you know, how rare the Commodore 64 is. Well, not rare, but you know what I mean. To have an actual machine, I know that everyone out there at the gathering are all there because of the 64, so I know they look after it. So.
Yeah, but it was really nice. And you made some competition there, if I remember correctly. I don't remember the results, but...
Yeah, I think Gianna Sisters was being played, and I can't remember where... I think Gohanks finished it.
Nice.
I think. And then I think it was Gohanks and Uthar that played Bubble Bobble, and they got to level 64 or something like that, which is a nice round number. Cool.
Yeah. I got a build also at the gathering of 64 crowns. I actually kept it.
Nice.
It was unbelievable. Yeah, I did not prepare for this. Anyways, regarding that, some of your early heroes maybe to mention.
Yes.
Galway we know, Rob Hubbard we know.
Yes. I mean, everyone remembers those two, but Tim Follin, I used to love Tim Follin's stuff, but he was kind of the second wave of composers. Mm-hmm. So David Whittaker, I liked his stuff as well. It can be a little bit repetitive, especially his first remixes, but they still sounded good. Mm-hmm. And I had to go at remixing one of his tunes, well, 2 of his tunes now, actually, Panther and Glider Rider.
Ah.
And I love Euro and Tell stuff. It's So, I mean, you know, on the Commodore 64, he was a great composer.
Absolutely.
Just
Yeah.
turns that he doesn't know how to bring out an album when he's spent on money. Never mind.
Okay.
It's about me.
No, but absolutely, he was also very influential to me because probably he was the first composer for whom I got like. I was eager to listen to his work after hearing Myth, and I heard Myth because of some remixes, so I was crazy about it. So